Great. All right. Well, thanks everybody for allowing me to take a few minutes to speak to you. I believe I signed in a little earlier than I was asked to, and so I believe Carter Hoskins may be on with us in just a little bit, as well as Jim McGowan, just to kind of let y'all know who else may be on the phone call from Panasonic. So just want y'all to be aware of that. I want to thank y'all for buying our equipment, using our equipment, and supporting us as you have over a number of years now. I'm going to start the presentation a little bit different this year. Instead of talking about some of the products that y'all use every day, I'm going to talk about something called 8K ROI. So let me see if I can get my, there we go. So I'm going to start talking about something that's next generation. I think we'll start seeing a lot of this type of application in a number of years. We all are used to using one camera, having an operator for every camera, zooming in, zooming out with every camera. And so we're going to be able to do a lot of that in the future that we've always done with individual cameras. We'll begin doing that with one camera. So it's a product that we've tested actually at a few NFL games, some NHL games, some NBA games, and it's one fixed camera allowing us to have 4 independent feeds, actually 5 recording feeds. They can either be 1080p or 720p, so you can connect up your UMR20 like you do right now. And similar to the PTZs that a lot of people have purchased, or a lot of teams have purchased, I should say, you'll be able to pan, tilt, and zoom those images. So what does that really mean? Is it's called 8K ROI. It's region of interest. It means that we'll be able to select up to 4 areas that we can actually zoom in, zoom out, and pan across a field. And those images would all be recorded individually. They can be controlled individually as far as an operator. You could have 4 operators like you do today as an example, and those operators individually can zoom in, zoom out, crop their shots, whatever they need to do as a game or a practice goes forward. I would probably, in my opinion, think of this product as a game product more than maybe a practice facility product, but it's just something to think about. You could also connect PTZs to the cameras and so forth, to the one camera, I should say, allowing you to have different angles going at the same time. So one operator can be controlling the crop we just spoke about, as well as a PTZ camera for a different angle. So one guy could be doing all that at one time. So that's something that's I think that'll be coming of interest. You may have seen this in 4K. A lot of times with 4K systems like this, when you zoom in, you zoom out, there's just a lot of pixelization, things of that nature. I think 8K is where this will begin showing its capabilities now as we move forward and so forth. Again, as an operator, you'll be able to position the cameras, the crops, everything that you've done. You'd actually be able to use the current RP150s that a lot of the teams already own. So you'd be able to use those type of products to position those particular crops and so forth. They don't even have to be in the same building. They could be, a guy could be at home in his office operating this system, or in a distant building operating this system, and doesn't even have to be at the complex itself to do all the operational controls. If y'all have questions, just please feel free to speak up, but I'm going to continue to go through, and we could also have questions toward the end about this. But I'm pretty excited about this product, and I think this is where a lot of the future of video is heading personally, whether it's in sports, whether it's in theater, newsrooms, whatever it happens to be. I think you'll begin seeing with these larger AKO imagers in the market, you'll be able to do a lot of things with one camera versus 4 cameras in the future. So I just want to plant that message with y'all right now. And then this just shows you, if you're in a remote facility, how you would control those cropped areas. A lot of y'all are familiar with a company called VeriZoom. Y'all use those to control your UX 180s or CX 350s or whatever it happens to be camcorder wise. VeriZoom is making a new product to control these cropped images. So just something to think about in the future. I know Chris has reached out to me, and I hope to do a demo with him pretty soon with the Packers, just to have and then we'll do some recording of all this so everybody can see that information. Okay. All right, so I want to go over our product line of PTZ cameras just to kind of give you an update, because quite a few of y'all are using our PTZ cameras. I want to tell you that the HR140 is our outdoor camera. A lot of the teams have already purchased those and are putting those in. That's a completely weatherized camera. It can handle any of the environments in the United States. So whether you've got the humidity of Houston, Texas, where I live, or you have the cold where the Green Bay Packers are, this camera should be able to work in all those type of elements and that type of weather. So that's out there. A lot of the teams have purchased the HE130 in the past. I want to let y'all know that that camera has been discontinued about probably 60 days ago. So I just want y'all to be aware of that. And then we have some smaller cameras that you may want to use in any of your team meeting rooms or press rooms or things of that nature, which are at different price points, different feature sets. Again, all the controllers can work with that, with all these cameras. Okay. The most popular camera that y'all have been purchasing of recent is the AWUE150 and the HR140 we spoke about just a little bit ago. But there is one little camera on here that y'all might want to take advantage of. It is a higher end desktop camera. It's called the AWUE4. It will allow you to connect up to your coach's laptop via USB. It's PoE powered. You can stream off of it, but one other option that you have with this camera is it has a mic input. So you don't have to worry about using the laptop's mic. This camera actually has a mic input. It has the HD SDI out, as well as the HDMI, the LAN, the USB. Excuse me, it doesn't have, so it has everything on that particular camera. The other cameras that quite a few guys have invested in to this date is the UE150. That is the Cadillac in our product line. For y'all, the light forgiveness of that camera is probably of great interest, but the UE100 you see next to it also is a new 4K camera we released maybe 6 months ago, a little longer, and both these cameras will give you the HD out that y'all need for your particular applications and how you go about recording your signals. But you also have the ability in all these cameras to do streaming. So if you wanted to record a stream of video, you could also do streaming. They're all PoE plus or PoE plus plus powered, just depends on the model. So there again, you have different things. I don't know if any of y'all are taking advantage of NDI yet, but all of our camera models, except for maybe one or two, have a capability to do NDI if you're using NDI in your facility. So that's coming along right now. Okay, these are the streaming capabilities of the camera. Like I said, you have 4 streams coming out of the camera. So you have 2 HD streams and 2 smaller streams. But all this can be done either over RTMP or RTSP or even NDI for that matter. So again, these are all examples of being able to take the baseband out, which a lot of you are doing currently at the HD SDI, or you can do streaming, H.264 streaming out of these particular cameras. One of the benefits of the UE150 and the 100 is a feature I spoke about last year. I'd just like to emphasize it again. These particular cameras have a 4K imager. So what we can do is pull up to 3 HD images out of that region of interest. That 16:9 full HD image, I can go in and pull additional areas of interest and crop those areas of interest. So you could have a tight shot and a wide shot, maybe from your end zone. Whoever's controlling the wide shot, the crop shot will follow. So if you pan to your right or you pan to your left, the smaller zoomed in image, one of the crops, will allow you to take advantage of staying in focus and following that. So you could have 2 recordings going on at one time with like the UMR20. You could have a wide shot like I just mentioned, or a tight shot. You could actually have up to one other shot if you chose to. So you have 3 capabilities there. So that's just something else to take to think about as y'all move forward and you're thinking about the years to come, that you have these advantages. So again, I started off this conversation talking about 8K and cropping 8K. We can also do that with the 4K cameras. Okay, but 8K gives us a lot more pixels to work with, where the 4K gives us enough. You'll have a great image because you're just shooting your 720p 8 megabit files right now, but you can also grow with that. Okay. We have a number of different controllers with these pan tilt cameras. We have our RP150, which is what the majority of y'all have invested in. We have a smaller RP60. These two can work together. So if you have a position A or a position B, or you want, maybe you want some controllers out by the field, and you don't want to invest in an RP150, you could use the RP60. It's basically a first come, first serve. So if I pull up camera 1 and then Patrick Dolan pulls up camera 1, if I got there first, I have control of camera 1. Okay, so it's just a first come, first serve on that type of thing. We also have a little handheld remote, which is a lot of interest for guys in the team breakout rooms, your huddle rooms, or your press rooms, where you can just use a little handheld remote. And that's what I actually use on my desktop all the time, is that handheld remote. Other items that y'all can take advantage of is the PT Control Center. If you already own our cameras, I would recommend you download this free software. You can load it on any laptop, and it basically mimics a controller. So, you know, if you want to, somebody calls you and you're in your office, they say, hey, we got a problem. Can you see this? You don't have to jump out of your seat. You could just open up your laptop, go to that particular camera, to an IP address. The PTZ controller will pop up, and you have full control just like you do with your controllers. So that's something else you could take advantage of if you want to. Okay. The cameras that we're showing now, as far as our handheld cameras and shoulder mount cameras, are the same as last year. The CX350 has been very popular for us, as well as the CX10. I know a couple of the teams have looked at the CX10 and played with it. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Miami actually owns a couple of CX10s. So y'all could reach out to Miami. I think Tim with the Texans has had my demo camera for about a week or 2 now, and he's been playing with it. So y'all could reach out and ask them about their experiences with those cameras. Or if y'all want to just demo a camera, just, you know, shoot me an email, and we'll make the arrangements for y'all to have these cameras on your site. You could take advantage of them. The CX4000 is our large camera, takes advantage of 2/3 inch lensing, and allows you to record everything that the 10 and the 350 record. So you could take advantage of that and connect that up to your UMR20. Okay. The main thing about these cameras is that, you know, we do have that 8 megabit mode in there for y'all. So I just want y'all to, you know, remember that we are still manufacturing that codec. It's still in all of our firmware and our camera equipment and our recorders. And we also will provide warranties on this. Here's the 350 camera. I don't know if anybody y'all played with it last year at the Combine. And like I said, several of y'all, the teams have already purchased these cameras. You still have the option as of right now to buy UX 180s. I would strongly push you toward buying CX350s just because it is a 4K imager. And if you want to record 4K in the future, you'll have that capability. So there is a little bit of a delta, but it's not that large of a delta between the CX350 and the UX 180. So I would take advantage of that. Again, the CX10 is a smaller camera, and it's very much a handheld camera. I have an image of, I forgot who this actually is, but you can see how small that camera is. So if you need to get in tight at practice or something of that nature, get up close to record something for one of the coaches, this camera is not going to be intrusive at all in those capabilities. Okay. And we still ship the UMR20, which I'll invested in the UCK20, which goes on top of a lot of the poles that y'all have purchased and different applications for that. So with that, I did a fast run through for y'all. I'll open it up to any questions y'all have of me.
James, I apologize. At the very beginning, when you were going over the 8K ROI, I was somewhat distracted.
Okay.
Could you just hit on that again? I apologize.
Okay. So if you look at the bottom center of the slide here, you'll see an 8K camera with a fixed lens on that camera. And then if you look at the slide to the left, it's showing an 8K image. Within that image, I'm pulling 4 cropped images out of that, which are HD. They can be 1080p or 1080i or 720p. So if they're 720p, they can go straight into your UMR20 and record.
Right.
Okay. Out of those, if you see, there's 5 numbers. There's one,
Yeah.
crop 1, which is kind of purple. Crop 2, kind of rose. Then there's the number 3 and 4, and then there's a 5. 5 is the overall view of what the camera is looking at. That's the whole field of view coming from that camera. So that's what you would focus with your fixed lens. Then I can go inside that image and zoom in, zoom out in any one of those crops. I can pan those crops. So I can do anything individually with that crop. One operator with an RP150 can move that image around, and he is not affecting maybe the number 2 guy if you're pulling 4 crops out of this and recording all 4. So 4 guys could actually be working with one large image, panning and zooming independently. So like I said, to me, I feel like this is the way the world will be going, especially for sports and actually for concerts even, is that, you know, this takes up a lot less room. You know, you can see it's just a little box camera. A lot of y'all purchased our box cameras years ago, so it's not a very large camera at all. So it takes up less space. It could be mounted, permanently mounted, and your operators could be wherever you need to locate them. In the stadium, they could be off premises maybe. They could be back at your office. Maybe it's a traveling team and maybe there's 2 of these cameras, and all you do is you're just shipping the video back from one city to another city.
James, so you're suggesting that there would be 2 controllers on this device as opposed to on the other that you got into later on, where there was 1 controller controlling 2 crops?
Correct. Now you can go back and forth. One operator could do 2 of these crops, but with the 8K, you really have let me say it this way. I don't want to confuse anybody. Let's start with the 4K, and we crop a 4K image. The cropped image is going to follow the larger full image. So if I pan with a UE150, that cropped area is going to pan as I pan the camera. With our 8K system, everything is independent of of every other feature. Okay, so I have my full 16:9 image here, number 5, and I have 4 cropped areas. Those 4 cropped areas are completely independent of each other.
And they're independent of number 5.
And yes, number 5 is just your whole, you're always going to have your
Okay.
whole image, no matter what. You got your
Yeah.
entire image.
No, I was just thinking from the end zone perspective, for those of us who have to shoot, you know, maybe a wide or maybe a tight, it's these don't necessarily work the same as the model that you showed us last year, where one controller is basically producing 2 720p streams.
Right. The difference here operationally is that my cropped image in the UE150 is following wherever I pan tilt the camera.
Yeah.
On this particular system, the 8K system, all feature sets are independent of each other. All
Sure.
crops are independent of each other.
Is this 8K camera outdoor rated, or does it have to be housed inside?
It had to have a housing built around it, yes.
Okay. I definitely want to talk to you about possibly testing.
James, when we kind of looked at the ability to shoot these multiple streams, we kind of hinted at this 16:9 angle. It works on the sideline as an 8K image. We had hidden it and alluded to what Patrick is saying, trying to install it in an end zone perspective. Can you rotate the 8K image, so the 760, 7600 by 4300, rotate that 90 degrees? Now it is the football field from the end zone's perspective in the long angle, but still achieve your croppings of 1 through 4 in wide and tight. Because otherwise, from an end zone perspective, and not what we're seeing here as the 53 1/3 wide field, but you're going to have 120 yards tall right in between the 45-yard lines. And then you're going to have all of the fans to the left and the right. And you're just not going to get the full benefits of being able to zoom in as opposed to being able to rotate the 8K image by 90 degrees.
Okay, so let me start with this, is that we can put any fixed lens on there. So the fixed lenses that you would choose for your end zone versus your sidelines would probably be different images, or excuse me, different lenses. The way the image is laid out, it's always going to be just like we're showing it right here, 43 by 20 and 760 by 80. But those crops can be whatever resolution you choose. They could be 16:9, or, you know, the way they're shown horizontally currently, or they could be portrait mode. If you wanted to have a portrait mode, you can arrange those crops any direction you want to and record those, you know, you're recording those crops individually, so you can do with what you want to. But really, Mike, what you were talking about is we just choose a different lens for the end zone versus the sideline.
James, I think what Mike was saying too is pretty much just the opposite of what you're saying. Like,
Okay.
we would turn the camera 90 degrees and then have our capture still be, you know, our landscape. Because you were pretty much alluding to just the opposite. Like, our main camera, the static camera would still be landscape, and then you'd be able to rotate portrait or captured area.
Well, you could do either or with the captured areas. So, but I don't think you'll need to rotate your camera per se. And we have some images I can share with y'all individually, and I have to get permission from some of the networks to allow me to do that. But, you know, we've shot a few games that were NFL games, and you could take a look at those images and so forth.
Yeah, if you've got any example from the end zone perspective, I'd love to see what that looks like.
One other question is there a limit to, can you set a limiter to how far you zoom in before you start hitting something that's not looking clear? You know, like, you can zoom in whatever 8 times, but eventually it'll stop you before it starts going overboard with the digital zoom.
Are we talking about the 8K system specifically right now?
Yes.
Okay. you're going to be in focus almost all the way in with this camera to very minute pixels because it is 8K. But yes, you can set limits, any type of limits you choose to. That I don't want the operator, zooming in past a certain point. You can set those limits yourself. You could also, with the controller, have crop one snap back to the 40 or the 50 or wherever you want it to go, as the team moves up and down the field. So it's just a pre-programmed position in the controller itself. Okay. One other, if y'all are thinking of any other questions, please ask them. But one other thing I'd like for y'all to also know about is, we do provide a 1-year warranty on all of our equipment. That's standard from the factory. But there are programs to give you a 5-year warranty if you choose to take advantage of that. That's on all of our equipment that we sell, except for one product, the HR140, which goes outside, so we never know who installed it, how it's installed, and so forth. But everything else we can have an extended warranty on if y'all want to take advantage of that. So as you make your purchases through your integrators, such as MediaRight, ask them about pricing for extended warranties, because with that comes some shipping capabilities that is included in that price point that'll probably pay for the warranty over 5 years. So.
As we talk to any of you about these, we'll make a note to make a point to talk about extended warranties and anything that'll add value or save you guys money. Oh, and
Just figured
also
out how to turn my camera on.
oh, we have all of the outdoor housing options for you guys here too. So if you're looking at PTZ or something that needs to go outdoors, we've got some customized outdoor options and Dotworks and some other brands too.
Hey James, question on the PTZ, the 100 that you guys have, the new one that's out. Do you have an outdoor housing unit for that yet? Are you still working on one?
We do. And since Tim, you're asking the question, you can actually, I could take you over to KRIV, about 2 miles from you, and show it to you. That is the shot they use and the camera they use right off the freeway that shows the Galleria area. So it's on their tower right there on West Park. So if you want to, we could drive over there together.
All right, that's by the team hotel. I will hit you up and we will, that's a date. Dinner.
Well,
that's special treatment. That's some home cooking, Brog.
Hey, me and James got
that's home cooking, guys. That's home cooking. So
Home cooking. Might as well stop and get some barbecue while you're at it.
Absolutely.
I hate to ask the question, but how is Panasonic gonna price these? Is this one camera gonna be 5 times the price, or how are you guys gonna handle that?
It's free for you.
So this solution is more expensive than UE150. That's for doggone sure. But I think if you start looking at the capabilities of it and what you don't have to install, yes, you're going to invest more up front.
I love the idea and everything like that, but just the pricing is I'd be interested in.
I heard Betsy was giving one away today in the raffle.
Yeah, that was James. Long was going to give one of those away today. Right, James? Actually, you guys, to talk about pricing though for a second, when you're looking at any of these prices, don't let that scare you. We work closely with our friends at Panasonic to do registrations and to do some things that are gonna save you some money. So any of these prices are just don't pay attention to them. The prices from us are going to be much more attractive.
Hey, James, it's Jim McGowan.
I'll just also say, 1 second, Jim. I'll just also say, you know, as a group, if you know, several of y'all have reached out to me and asked for demonstrations, and we'll do those, okay? But if as a group, y'all start feeling like this is something y'all want to invest in, and it won't just be the standard type pricing, and we will work with you. So just like we always have.
Yeah, like last year, there was the big movement, was it last year? 2 years ago? 2 years ago? The big movement into 4K and the UCK 20s and UMR 20s and the 350s. So we put together, basically worked with Panasonic to become the conduit to save you some money, but to help make sure everybody got everything they needed on time. So if this becomes something that becomes more of a blanket purchase, we'd love to have a chance to talk about that.
Jim, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was going to mention on the 8K ROI system, as James mentioned, it is quite a bit more expensive. That camera itself, just the list price on it is about $61,000. So it's may not work as much for coaching analysis than other areas at the stadium, but just wanted to pass that on.
We're taking orders for those here today in the MediaRight team room.
And James, I don't know if you went over it or not, but I just want to mention when James talked about the PTZ cameras and went over that lineup, since for the past year with COVID, we've also introduced, instead of just on-site training, if you're interested, we also have online training as well. So you can pick up 4 hours of training on the PTZ cameras, and the list price on that's about $390.
That's awesome.
Guys, every year I like to offer some type of special to y'all, and so this year I'm going to say if I can get a group of you, maybe more than 6 or maybe even 10 of y'all to buy into CX10s, maybe it's just individually, each individual team buying one. If I can get a commitment out of y'all for, let's say 10, I'm be happy to give you an extra battery just to you know, throw something out there, because we always want to work with y'all, do what we can, provide what we can for y'all. So.
And Jim, or James, we can partner with you in that, right?
So if y'all just shoot me or Betsy an email, we'll take it.
Yeah, I'll keep count so we can make sure everybody gets batteries.
Well, does anyone have any more questions for these guys?
No, I guess we should probably talk about the importance of the UCK 20 and the UMR 20, how important those have been for us as we've developed our coaches polls. Many of you own them. I'm not sure. You can go and you can, on our MediaRight TV portion of our MediaRightOn.com website, you can go in and you can see a little video about it. Our coaches polls are pretty special. A few of you were really important in helping us to develop them to be as great as they are. You know, you've got the UCK 20 camera head at the top. You've got the proprietary cable coming down to the UMR 20 with a special quick release magnetic mount. You've got your monitor, your viewing monitor right here at eye level. And what's really great about it comes with everything you need, the power and the zoom controller. And the entire thing, when you look at it, it can go up as high as 17 feet. You look at it, it looks so robust, which it is, but it weighs less than 5 pounds top to bottom, which is what's really important, because you can get those shots really fast. And that UCK 20 and that UMR 20 it's a great combination in terms of taking a really good picture.
I just noticed that Carter has joined us. I don't know if he wants to say just hello to everybody, or y'all want to say hello to him. He's been with our group and y'all's group for many, many years now. So Carter, you have anything you'd like to share? So.
Well, I texted Mr. Green separately to see if he's sobered up yet, but he hadn't responded back. So that's my main question: is if the parties in Tampa have subsided yet.
You don't have my new number, do you?
Oh, I guess not.
We're just glad Brett's here on time today.
I'll text you my new number, Carter.
No, I just always the same as James mentioned. We appreciate the partnership through the many years with each club and each one of you guys individually, and anything we can ever do to further your activities and your support of your clubs, and we're always interested in. And more than anything else, just want to express our appreciation. So yes, again, just thanks for the years of patronage, and let us know what we can do to support you. And you know, we the individual territory account managers for each of you, if you're not working with them locally, you know, certainly James can get you plugged in to them. Certainly want to continue the localized relationship. So outside of that, just good to see everybody.
And we're here to help anytime too.
See y'all later, guys.
All right.
Thanks very much,
Thanks,
James.
guys.